Welcome to the Business Growth Spotlight, where we shine the light and talk with business leaders from all over the world who are here to share their insights and wisdom so we can all grow together. I'm your host, Heidi Schalk, co-founder of HLH Growth Solutions, and we help businesses grow revenue using outside-the-box visibility strategies. If you're new to our podcast, welcome. You joined us on an awesome day because we're talking about health and fitness. And I love this topic. We've already been chatting behind the scenes, me and my guests. So you're in for a really fun conversation. But welcome if you're new to the show. And please stay to the end because I have a special gift just for you. But without further ado, I want to introduce my guest today, Yancy Culp with Spartan. So welcome, Yancy, to the podcast.
Heidi, thank you for having me on. And as you mentioned, I could tell in our prep, this is going to be a lot of fun. We were rapping back and forth for a few minutes. I was like, we need to hit record. Let's go.
Exactly. I was like, oh, we should have started recording from the beginning. But Yancy, kick us off. Tell our listeners a little bit about you, about Spartan, and your role within it.
So again, Yancy Culp, co-creator, senior director for Spartan DEKA. I don't know if we're listeners and viewers, but if we're not viewers, you're looking over my right shoulder here. You see this death race bib. Back in 2013, I found myself on Joe DeSena's farm. Joe DeSena is the owner, founder, CEO of all things Spartan. And about 30 hours in, he's kicking my butt. And this turned out to be a 72-hour death race. No sleep, 300 people show up, about only 21 of us finished. We find ourselves talking business on the side of his mountain 30 to 40 hours in. And we've been collaborating ever since. The mission that Joe started with Spartan, 15 million people he's gotten across the finish line across 60 plus nations and it's 60 plus countries. And it's an amazing journey and mission that Joe has. But back in 2019, I found myself shooting a podcast at his place in Pittsville, Vermont. And we started talking about an idea. You know, we're not going to get everybody to the mud and the barbed wire on the side of a mountain somewhere. What if we created a Spartan race that took place inside brick and mortar, gyms, clubs, studios, and boxes, and truly designed something for all levels? Because a lot of people are intimidated by the current participatory sport market that's out there. Maybe they didn't play sports growing up, or maybe they're overweight, unfit, not on a good fitness journey. Let's create something that's for all levels. If you can walk and breathe, there's a damn good chance you're going to get across the finish line. Joe said yes, and I was like, okay, we got to make this thing happen. So we built a small team. Fast forward to today, we have about 380 gyms, clubs, studios, and boxes across about 15 countries that have held over 4,500 revenue-generating events for their business. So imagine walking into a gym and seeing Spartan DEKA medals there and the T-shirts and the start line and the finish line and this little small scale event where like 50 to 150 people are coming and doing what we call celebrating the power of fitness. Imagine, 30, 40% of the people coming into that gym have never walked into a gym before in their life, or maybe it's been a long, long time. They're not on a good fitness journey and they cross the finish line and they feel the power of what I call the world's most powerful drug. Fitness, movement, exercise. As a fitness coach for 30 years, I've seen it change and even save lives, as have so many gym owners, club owners, and coaches. So we really wanted to create a globally recognized sport truly designed for all levels. And Joe said yes. And for the past 6 years, I feel like I've worked 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, but it's been an absolute passion project. We have an amazing team and it's been an amazing journey.
I love that you're doing it. Like you said, some people have never walked in a gym before, and that could be really intimidating. And what you're creating is fun inside of an possibly intimidating for many people experience. And I love that. And it's great for people of all fitness levels. I've done, as I shared with you, your Mud Girl run back just a few months ago, locally here in South Florida. And it was awesome. My daughter did it. She's 16. So it doesn't, the young ones can do it. I don't know how young you go, but like the teenagers can definitely do it. And they were kicking our butts. Let me just tell you, way ahead of us moms who are tagging behind. But it was great, well organized, super fun, inspiring, and everybody was just supportive. There was really no competition. You have competition maybe with yourself, but there was no competition. It was very, it was a joy to be there. And we left on, all pumped up, all excited to be there. And we actually spent a lot of time after we finished, completed, to watch the other kind of runners take off, because you do it in segments.
It fills my love tank to hear you say that. And there is so much that happens around the festival area, meeting new people, And it's a beautiful, what I call the world's most powerful drug. It's a beautiful community, and
Yeah.
it's very empowering, and there's a place for everybody.
Yeah, that's perfect what you just said. There's a place for everybody. And I have to say, if you haven't done an event and you get nervous about like organization, this was super organized. The parking, like there's a lot of people go to these events.
Yeah.
But it's you do it in sections and groups and you have your time already mapped out. So like we chose our time of when we were going to run and it was on time. The parking was super easy because you have people coming and going because they have their time set. So it was a fantastic experience. I will be definitely doing more. And it was super fun to do with my daughter, and
Yeah.
her friends and the other moms. So for those of you listening, make it a family event or grab some friends and do that. And I'll push this again at the end of our conversation. But I loved it. And I just wanted to share that. So can you share with us, Yancy, why is fitness so important for us in today's age or at any age?
Yeah. Well, research shows that the vast majority of a larger percentage of us adults, let's look at the US as a little microcosm here, are not on a good fitness journey,
Mhm.
overweight, unfit, didn't play sports growing up, made it through middle school, high school, not doing what I call one of the greatest internship of a young man or woman's life, playing a team sport. And in high school, college, they're all a team sport for the most part. They've never even had a gym membership. It's intimidating. A lot of coaches will get tunnel vision, gym owners, and they don't realize that the larger percentage of your community, they've never even walked into a gym before. This is our temple. We get this one body to enjoy what I call enjoy this beautiful rock of ours we call planet Earth. And everybody wakes up when they're 40, 50, 60 years old, and we can even take it back to 30, and they're able to say one or two things to everything this beautiful rock provides us: yes or no. And if you've disrespected yourself, I try to have those buzzwords that kind of wake people up and jar them as a fitness coach and fitness business owner for 30 years. Like, if you've disrespected yourself, you find yourself when, let's say, we have kids similar age that I want to go hike the Grand Canyon, or I want to go just on a hike locally, or I want to go on a snow ski trip, or I want to do this or that. And if you, too many people, I feel, find themselves having to say no to that because they haven't taken care of their beautiful machine. What fitness can do when you say we train for the sport of life, the ultimate sport, is when you do wake up 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, you will be able to say yes to everything. If it's taking care of providing for yourself and your family members, your loved ones, if it's doing the type of work you want to do, going on that active vacation with your spouse, eventually your kids, eventually your grandkids, or maybe even protecting yourself or your family if you need to. So I really go back to what I said earlier. This is the temple, and we need to respect it. So when you walk and it's like, okay, a 45-minute gym session. Look at it this way: I'm being selfish with my time. It's Yancy time. It's Heidi time. It's time for me to serve myself. And as I start stacking good days on top of like that, I am able to use my body and my mind to serve those people important to me. So that's my direct way of saying, why is it so important? I mean, if that doesn't pull you to the edge of your seat, I don't know what will, because yeah, I kind of selfishly, I'm proud that I can say yes to everything because I've and I love when you get a chance to work with that person that may not be on that journey, and they wake up a few months into it's like, oh my gosh, I see what you were saying. I used to say I don't have time, but that 45 minutes buys me time every day. I'm a better version of myself. So that's probably the best off the cuff answer I could give you, my friend.
It's great. And I love that you just said like that 45 minutes buys me time because
Hmm.
I'll speak for myself and I know because we, we're building our business. We've pivoted a little bit and loving what we do. But there comes a time when you're in that mode and then family and holidays are coming as we're recording this. There could be times where we're like, you know what? I don't have the time for that. I've got to prioritize other things. But at the end of the day, you just said it. We must prioritize our health and first for ourselves because that's going to actually give you more clarity and buy you the time where you're getting things done faster because you're not hurting in other ways. Your mind is clear, your endorphins are up, your energy levels are up, you're sleeping better, right? So you might even
Yeah.
be waking up better, happier and earlier, possibly. So, you said something regarding as we get older, and if we're not taking care of ourselves, that's when we kind of wake up. Many people wake up to like, oh, I've got to start taking care of myself. We're seeing now that men and women are both having children older. So to your point, we need to be taking care of ourselves throughout our entire lives with fitness and health and prioritizing ourselves, especially if we want to keep up with our youngins. I'm 53 and my children, I was older. My children are 16 and 14, and keeping up with them as teenagers is a lot,
Yeah.
So, and now 40-year-olds are having babies, upper 30s, or which is when I had them, are having children. So to your point, I think it's really important that we're being mindful of that as people who are looking to start families, because many of us are starting a little older. I have a question for you, and this is a little off where I had planned to go, but children. Today is a digital age. We're really in it. It's only going to get more digitized, right? So, how are you seeing this affect fitness and the children, teenagers in this space? Because you mentioned many people didn't do sports growing up. Well, that was in our time when people
Hmm.
were outside. We didn't have all these devices. Now I feel like it's even worse. So are you seeing any, challenges or red flags or things we should be looking at out for these young people?
What is so unique, and I want to get a fist bump to the Gen Zers out there. We are seeing the most amazing movement, and I know that's different than these kiddos that are in middle school. That's a pretty big gap when we talk. The ones right smack dab in the middle of Gen Z, but we are seeing the most amazing movement as far as being really cognizant of taking care of what I call the beautiful machine early in the podcast, the running groups that are popping up, the sheer crazy high numbers that are showing up to our DEKA events, our Spartan events, participatory sports in general, little pop-up events, meetups. I read something the other day about it was like Club Light, or I can't remember what they were talking about, but people are meeting up at gyms calling it Club Life. It's just amazing how the Gen Zers' minds are working about really respecting. Back in the 80s, when I was growing up, I was a little bit of a mess in the 90s. I wasn't really thinking about that, but you see this great movement. There's a lot of awesome peer pressure. It's like, wait a second, this is your temple. You need to take care of it. So, shout out to the Gen Zers. I know they catch a little grief sometimes, but we're seeing amazing movements there. I would say, I've been coaching fitness all levels, middle school, high school, college, professional athletes, general population, and everything in between for 30 years. And there is a shift in middle school, high school sports participation. And I know this part plays a big role in that, the amount of time that they're spending on that. Those super quick little 5, 10 second videos flying at them. I can't remember if I said this early in the podcast, but team sports, I've always preached that team sports truly is the greatest internship of a young man or woman's life. You're being led. That's your opportunity to be led by an imperfect person that knows the craft, that sport better than you, and in most cases better than mom and dad. And mom and dad are allowing you to go be led by this individual that wants to help you learn how to win, and in most cases do it the right way. And it's an amazing internship. And
Mm,
I can tell you, if I'm hiring and I see a kid from some junior college, but they played team sports, and this kid from whatever Ivy League, there's a darn good chance I'm going to put that kid that played team sports and struggled through college, but they finally got to the finish line because that internship.
yeah.
So numbers have dropped, but pushing your kids, moms and dads and listeners to do team sports, I'm 30 years in this business. I'm telling you, it is the greatest internship. That is going to eventually become business life. You're either going to be leading or being led by that imperfect person, or you're the imperfect person leading people. And you got to be a good leader or a good follower. And the goal is to like make that project great. Or as moms and dads, we're trying to raise the kiddos from 0 to 18. And 98% of the time, there's no spotlight, there's no cheering section. That's okay. It's Friday night football game. Yeah, the lights finally come on and we cheer. People are in the stands, but most of the time we're trying to get them to graduate high school, eventually college. We celebrate that, turn the big project in, win the game. It all turns into like you got to fall in love with the 98%
Yeah.
kiddos. So yeah, and I got a little off track there, but to your point, the numbers have dropped, and I want everybody do us a favor here. Graciously push your kids. I don't ever like to see, hey, force them to do something. When I coach a class with 100 kids, who's being forced to play the sport you love? Nobody raises their hands. They decide to do it. It's like, so dive in and celebrate The
Yeah.
fact that you have a body that allows you to do, a mind and body allows you to do this, it's a great internship. So moms and dads, guardians, graciously push them towards it because it's going to be worth it in the long run.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's interesting because my daughter was an ice skater, and I remember with both kids, we were just like threw everything at them, like try this. You don't like it? Okay, we're gonna try that. We always had him doing something,
Hmm.
and you had to stick with it through the season. So if you
Yeah.
wanted to do
Great rule.
something,
Great.
stick with it. You didn't have to continue, but you had to stick with it to the season, finish it out. Soccer and her, where she'd stand in the middle of the field and just stand there. When she
Hmm.
was like 4, she wasn't interested. But ice skating, she left and came back to, and then that was her passion. My son was a little different. He played soccer. He played he was not really into sports. He was more of a gamer, which was shocking because we weren't. But he was into that, and he loved theater and things like that. Now he's back to soccer, and he found his way back to it on his own, and he's obsessed. He loves it. He's
Hmm.
always out there playing. So I exactly to your point, like we get to just share with them the experiences, expose them to it. And I like what you said, don't force, because then the children don't want to do it. If they're forced, it's not fun, but they're going to find something that really latches onto, and then they just light up and they get off those devices when they find that thing. Like he's on his device a lot, but when it's all about soccer, it's all about soccer.
Yeah.
And he's
You
outside.
know,
So
the great Andrew Simpson says, just tell them you're proud of them and I enjoyed watching you play. And I should say, I said team sports, but just being on a team, it could be band, it could be
yeah,
Spanish club, it could be theater, just where you're like around other people being led.
yeah,
That's the key ingredient.
absolutely. So Yancy, you've lived many lives, Navy veteran, elite OCR athlete, coach, and now one of the major forces behind Spartan DEKA. How have your personal experiences shaped your philosophy on growth, leadership, and high performance?
I have had a lot. I've done a lot of living, and my personality is don't let your feet hit the floor in the morning until you're ready to dominate the day. Brian Cain said that, and I live that. A beautiful day is when it's 6, 7, 8 p.m. You're like, I don't want today to end. I was looking at my Google Calendar today, and it's so filled. And you're a big piece of that today, and just I learned over the years to develop what I call a pause button before I jump on your podcast, before I step into a meeting or walk into a room, or before I step on the stage to do a keynote, or before coach a class, whatever it is. That's an opportunity. Take me, I'll have a physical pause button. I'll slap my leg and say, just take 5 seconds. I'll say a quick little internal prayer, and like just try to be the type of person that people want, like they light up when they see you walk in the room or jump on that Google Meets or Zoom. Um, and that's so a lot of living and being able to listen and learn from a lot of great people, always never being the smartest one in the room and being that person that's anything you hear come out of my mouth, 99% of it is not something magical I came up with. It's something that somebody taught me, and I heard that little nugget and put it in my bag. And maybe I get to go on and serve. But what's working with Spartan and Joe has allowed me to do, and I is I get to be around tens of thousands of people every year. I get to be in rooms in convention centers and expo centers, or on the side of a mountain, or in a festival area with thousands of people, and have an opportunity to serve them. We get to provide them with something that can be life changing or even life savings. There's hundreds of stories, not thousands of stories, where when I say life saving, I'm not exaggerating that. And that you talk about something filling your love tank, and being willing to work your tail off to just give everything you can to make sure we wake up 20 years from now and it's still going. And you telling your stories, like you said, I got to do a Tough Mudder with another one of our brands with my daughter. That's a microcosm of why we exist. Like those memories that you have this Thanksgiving dinner with your daughter and talking about that just fills all of our love tank. So I work with a lot of different companies. Great company out of Austin here called Human, and I travel the country doing mental and physical conditioning, 12-hour conditioning camps with large teams and groups and C-levels, and various other companies. They're all in the health and wellness space. All of everything I do, we could all sit around, the owners and high level C-level management could sit around the same table and collaborate. We're in the ultimate, we're trying to serve people in various ways. So it's a if I died tomorrow, I would be a happy, very, very happy, fulfilled man. So yeah, it's been a very fruitful life, and I get up every day just super excited to, like I said, pinch the life out of every second I get today.
Yeah. I love it when you said you don't let your feet hit the ground unless you're ready to
Un-
dominate the
Until you're
day.
ready to dominate the day.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, you are.
It's a choice. It's a choice we get. Every day is a choice, and we choose our attitude. We could have $20 million in the bank, or we don't have two pennies to rub together. We still have the choice to choose our attitude that day.
Yeah. So good. And I should have prefaced this whole conversation when I introduced you as get out your notebook because there's going to be a lot of gold dropped here. And you're dropping it. So if you need to, go grab your notebook and start writing stuff down or just keep replaying this over and over again. So Yancy, you often say that we are all athletes. At a
Hmm.
minimum, we are training for the sport of life. So good. Another one of those gold bombs. Why is fitness such a non-negotiable pillar for you, not just in physical health, but in your business, leadership, and personal development?
Yeah, the research shows that a larger percentage of people they've never really participated in what they would call a sport, a gamified event, and training for that with a team or as an individual. So it was important, at us for Spartan DEKA to create that globally recognized sport. And as a coach, you every time I'll kind of date myself, or I've probably coached 5 to 6 thousand group exercise classes. And you learn a lot about people. In every class you ever teach, there are people that are nervous to be there today. There are people that decided not to come. Their friends, they could not get to come that day. So you're trying to paint a picture of the benefits, being graciously direct, I like to say, and make sure people have phenomenal experiences. And when you start planting that seed of the ultimate sport is life, and we briefly touched on it earlier about being able to say yes to everything the beautiful rock hard planet Earth provides us, that's the ultimate sport. I mean, you live every day for that sport, and to be able to have those memories with your significant other, your kids, your grandkids, your awesome friends, be able to say yes to that trip. It hurts me inside when I know I have clients that right now are somebody I sit down and talk to is like, I purposely say no to active vacations, and I make sure we take the path if it's going to be an inactive vacation. And why is because they're not fit, and to be able to open up to really and get outside and enjoy is that once you start becoming more fit, training for the sport of life, that you start to be able to say yes to those things. And we're all going to pass away at some point, but to be able 60, 70, and 80 to be able to really enjoy those years, have a much, much higher percentage to enjoy those years. There's nothing more powerful than I can say to somebody than, it's kind of like, that savings account, that you're trying to save. It's like I'm putting that 45-minute gym session a day or session with me, or testing your fitness periodically with Spartan and DEKA, and seeing my time improve, doing a DEKA 3 to 4 times a year. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm faster after a 6-month training cycle. That's money in the bank when I snap my fingers and I am 60. And my kids are bringing the grandkids over, and I'm out in the backyard kicking the soccer ball around. That's going to feel really, really good versus, dancing around that and avoiding that. I'll tell you exactly where I'm going to be, and I want the rest of the world to be able to enjoy that. So I'm very, very direct. I try to be graciously direct, but I'm very pushy to people about, this time is very, very important.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've coached thousands of people from beginners to elite performers. If a CEO or entrepreneur is listening and wants to improve both their fitness and business performance, what 1 or 2 habits would you recommend they start this week, today?
I think the research definitely shows that you need to walk the walk, talk the talk. Um, it's like, let's say you are a 42-year-old man or woman and you're a coach for a team. This is non-debatable. The optics play a role. If I look fit and I actually am fit, that's the most important. I am fit and I can get out there and be active as a coach or as a business leader. I walk into the office and I'm standing tall, and I'm I have fitness in my life. I promise you, nobody's going to look down on you, but and you talk about the power of fitness. You build community through fitness events. If it's going to the Spartan race with, we'll launch 200 people in one wave, and it's all the same company.
Wow,
Are they all, the
that's
police
awesome.
and the fire department got together, or the local teachers union got together, and these big C levels are dragging 50 employees out, and we launch them out there. You talk member or employee retention
Mm.
improving. That's a non-debatable. So that's the water cooler talk around the office is about what we did. Every 3 months we go do this together as a team. I don't care if you're launching rockets, our teaching, our nurses, our engineering, our C-suite with a bunch of top line managers and mid-level managers, and then the supervisors and the standard employees. I don't care what it is. It's going to be a game changer for you. So if you don't have some type of fitness organization, community going on, somebody leading that, reach out to me. I'll help you get it started. Or don't reach out to me. You need to get that going because all the research shows that it's an absolute game changer on every P&L and L and every EBITDA statement. All those lines are going to improve. It's like, wait a second, that's all going to improve because we developed a fitness culture at work. You damn right. I promise you, give it a year and watch it happen. So,
Yeah, I can see how that would happen because you're building that camaraderie, that team support, and what's the word I'm looking for? It just slipped my mind, but I can see how that would change, like uplift your output, right? You're going
mhm.
to get more out of your employees because one, they really like being there. And like you said, that turnover, what's going to happen? People, if they love being where they are and they love the people that they're working with, that's going to build that great team environment inside of your business.
On that note, that's why we created DEKA for the. You got to be careful with your wording because if let's say you and I have a business, we have 100 employees. There's going to be a certain percentage that are like scared to death of like saying yes to that weekend event that we've got planned. DEKA provides this low barrier of entry. The most fit person on our employee team is going to get their butt kicked, but the most unfit person, maybe we've got a couple that are 100 pounds overweight, just getting started. They're all going to find the finish line with our Spartan DEKA brand, and we're really trying to serve all. And like you said earlier, it's you versus you
Yeah.
ultimately.
But what I love about your events is that there's also that support, like because there's obstacles. They call it's an obstacle course for a reason. There's
Hmm.
obstacles that you get to go through and overcome. Some of them you're crawling under, some of them you're climbing. But there's also people there, like we're all helping each other, whether we know the person or not. So for the team environment of an organization, most of them will know each other unless it's an extremely huge organization with different divisions. But when you're out there like we didn't necessarily know the person next to us because maybe
Yeah.
my daughter was way ahead, so I may not have been some of the moms we stuck together, but we'd also like be around other people and we'd support each other if we needed to. Sometimes I was faster or better on certain obstacles and sometimes somebody else was, and they would support me. And then you see these groups of people
Yes.
like cheering each other on too. Like they're waiting for their people to come up and finish that one obstacle. And then they're all celebrating together. They're taking pictures. Like it's an awesome, awesome time.
You were helping people and you were being helped. And I get asked this question all the time, Yancy. Why? Give me like your number one answer why obstacle course racing, mud runs, whatever, really took off. And we still get 12, 13,000 people out to a Spartan race over the weekend or a Tough Mudder. At one day, you and I both woke up. Were we seven? Were we nine? Were we 11, 13? I don't know. We woke up and was like, I'm not going to go splash that mud puddle anymore. I'm not going to go stomp in that mud puddle anymore. I don't want to get my shoes dirty. Whatever. That day happened to all of us.
Yeah.
Wake up when you're 30, 40, 50 and go splash in that mud puddle again over a 3 to 5, 10 mile course. And trust me, you start going back in time and you light up and you're out in the you're on a farm or a ranch somewhere in the middle of nowhere. You're like, this is amazing. And you go back to being a 7-year-old again. And what could be better than that? So,
I'm sure there's people, me included, the biggest smiles when at the beginning and but especially when it's over and you're covered, like you're dirty,
yeah.
right? You're dirty, you're sweaty, you're wet. And it's just like biggest, I saw the biggest smiles because you have a big, huge setup or for more photos that you can take. And you just see people after people getting, they're done, they run over and they have the biggest smiles on their
Yeah.
face. They're laughing. And I'm not saying it's easy, but it's also doable. No matter,
Yeah.
like you said, whatever level you're at, it's doable and it's exciting and it's fun. And there's a huge sense of accomplishment, camaraderie. So whether you go with just you and a friend or you in a group of 20, 30, 40, 50, there's a sense of camaraderie because you're also meeting other people who are there for the same thing. And they're all there to
Mm-hmm.
have a good time and to feel accomplished and go and move through this and get dirty.
You're gonna get very dirty.
Very dirty. So let's talk a little bit about the business growth for a moment. Let's pivot a little bit. Tell us who is your biggest, like for you, your ICP, your ideal client profile, your target market. You mentioned gyms. You do this inside of gyms. I've experienced the outdoor version. So the gym one intrigues me, but who is it that you're marketing to? And how are you doing it? What are some of the ways that, because I'm sure, I don't know if you have competition out there. I'm sure there is. Every industry has it. So how are you standing out? How are you getting visible and being seen and getting into these gyms and putting on these events? What are the ways of get visibility? I know you do podcasts that work. And then on the flip side of the coin, ENC, what are some of the things that you all have done that you thought would be beneficial, but may not have given you the return that you really thought or hoped for?
Yeah, we'll look at Spartan DEKA real quick. So right now we have about almost 400 gyms, club studios, and boxes across the world that hold about 1,500 events a year, where there's a Spartan DEKA event happening inside that brick and mortar, in some cases outside. And then in various countries across the world, we hold big convention center, expo center type events where you might see 250 gyms represented there. Um, our true convention center event will always be that gym where 90% of the people are coming in from like a 3 to 5 kilometer radius and they're nail biting nervous, and that's where they earn that medal. About 65% of them are the members of that gym, and about 35% are never walking that gym before in their life. And something we're really proud of is in participatory sport, about ticket sales, about 65% are males, 35% females. With DEKA, we've been over 50% since we launched. We're really, really proud of that. With that model we created, it's a revenue generator model, 60-40 rev share. Let's say you and I own a gym and we generate $5,000 of ticket sales. You and I make $3,000 for that event. So it's a nice little revenue generator, and we get to celebrate fitness and test our people. From here's the unique part of it. We are very by design, we have to be a big part of our marketing. What we do is very, very soft skills, old school, like being able to walk into a gym, like you're asking a gym to pay you a monthly fee for your service, and their great brand and our great brand molding together, leaning on each other, become a better version of ourselves together, our two brands. And it's an industry where nobody gets into it to make millions of dollars. You got into it because you fell in love with serving people with fitness. You fell in love with how it made you feel. And coaching, that's 99% of gym owners. You fell in love with it. We have every chain. We're partnered with F45s and Anytimes and CrossFits and all, and every mom and pop you can ever think of, club chains, all the things, big and small. But we have to have a conversation with people like, wait, we have to turn that light bulb moment on from a grassroots perspective. So what I love, because I'm not great at all the high tech stuff. We have a wonderful team that is, but I like to shout it from the rooftops. That's my skill set. And that's a big part of what we do. We have to convince a gym owner and have this first event and watch the tears start to shed. The kids come in holding signs for mom. You're like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting this. And then you're hanging a medal around their neck, and then you're celebrating fitness. An official Spartan event happened inside your gym. We do have a great marketing team. We do a lot of stuff on social, typical, kind of old school now, but we run a lot of ads on social. We do shout outs for all of our gym. Like you'll go to a Spartan or DEKA, you combine those two, you're talking about a 500,000 plus followers, and we're marketing a little event where 75 people are going to come to a gym. That's a pretty neat thing for that gym owner. We're starting to dabble with AI. But what's unique for us right now is this is a kind of a global thing. We in 2 to 3 years we want to, we plan on being in 60 plus countries, just like Spartan OCR, the mud runs are. with 3,000 gyms holding 10,000 events a year. So where 99% of everybody that's walking and breathing right now on planet Earth is a short drive, a walk, a bike ride, or an Uber ride from an official Spartan event that takes place inside a gym. So it's making sure that what you're providing now is happening. We're kind of failing forward like anything else, but providing a really good experience. So the oldest form of marketing is going to be the number one form always for us. That person that walked into that gym for the first time goes out, and females have always been better than men. This is the way it is. Dragging their friends in for the next one because, like, I didn't think I could do this, but Susie talked me into doing it, and we were on a team. We divided and conquered, and it was so much fun. And now that gym sees 7 new people come to the next event that wasn't at that previous one. So I know that's really old school marketing, but that is a dream.
Yeah.
That's the home run hitter for us ultimately.
Yeah, word of mouth matters. And people, a friend saying I had an amazing time at this gym, and it felt amazing, so good, and somebody's looking to enter it but intimidated or nervous about it. That's the best. That's great advertising right there, and your event spawns that. So what's next over the next 12 months? Say we're coming on the end of 2025, so by the end of 2026, what are the big goals? What's next for Spartan DEKA, and what are the big goals that you all have?
In a couple weeks, we'll be in Fort Lauderdale for our 4th annual DEKA World Championships. Probably 25 plus countries represented, 3,000 plus people competing. That's for what we call the DEKA Cyborgs, the high levels. And then our goal, like this year, we added Mexico, Ireland, Italy, Australia. China's booming. We plan to more than double the number of countries that are participating in Spartan DEKA, reach into some of those markets, the 62 plus markets that have been putting on Spartan races and Tough Mudder events for many years, branch into those markets. Ultimately, on the DEKA side, reaching 3,000 plus gyms, club studios, and boxes that are hosting those 10,000 events a year, and helping people realize that we don't see nobody's a competitor to us. We can partner with it. We have University of Connecticut. They're an affiliate of ours. Military bases are affiliated with us. Businesses are affiliated with us. Yes, it's mainly gyms, but just kind of not a global takeover by design, because our number one mission is trying to get people to understand the value of training for the ultimate sport of life, taking care of your beautiful machine. What happens when to really nail down your question, I want, by the end of next year, I want several million more people realizing the power of, oh, I tested 4 months ago and my time was 35 minutes, and I tested 4 months later today and I'm 23 minutes. I'm 12 minute better version of myself. Well, that's because my gym coach said, hey, if you'll come to class 3 to 4 times a week, you're going to slowly become a better version of yourself. And like, the box is checked. I get it, man. And thank you. It's working. I'm feeling better, looking better, and I'm a better athlete. So yeah, that's the global takeover we're looking for, is where instead of 1% knowing who we are, 99% knowing who we are, and a lot of gracious pressure to get your butt in the gym and test your fitness.
Love that. So, Yancy, if I could give you a magic wand and you can wave it over one challenge or issue you're having right now, that either right now that you can think of, or that could possibly hinder you from getting to that goal that you just shared, what would it be and why?
That's a great question. I wasn't expecting that. And that's a code that many of us coaches and gym owners have been trying to crack for a long time. And and we have our ideas and we test things, but the ultimate wave of the wand would be cracking the code at why 70 plus percent of people in most communities they're not on a good fitness journey, and they've never even had a gym membership. Cracking the code of, like, they wake up and it's like, oh, poof, I totally get it. I understand. I'm ready to go now. So give me help, the magic wand, please help give me even better words, better messaging, better branding, better organizing to help crack that code, to where when the gym member does go out in town and invites people in, they're like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. The words you just told me, or we've seen the marketing about that. It just hit me. And maybe we need to look at what happened to the Gen Zers. I don't know exactly what happened to them, but why are they like, why are 90 plus percent of them deciding we're not going to drink as much? We're going to go to the gym more. We're going to lean towards really trying to take care of our beautiful machine. look into that messaging. But yeah, that's the ultimate code we're all trying to correct from a business perspective, because that means more money. We're
Right.
selling more memberships. That's not the ultimate reason we got into the business, but we have to keep the lights turned on. If we can crack that code, get more people filling the gyms and filling classes, ultimately the whole world benefits. Medical costs, hospital visits. I mean, everything improves, and we see healthier people living healthier lives. If we get every time somebody walks into the gym and says yes to that class, that person is going to ultimately is slowly getting more healthy.
So, looking 3 to 5 years ahead, what do you think will be the biggest opportunities for growth in the fitness and active lifestyle industry? And where will Spartan DEKA be leaning into this?
Um, Testing your fitness competitions, fitness racings, the kind of our industry's calling it, is really, really booming. The power of the start line. People are understanding that message. It's resonating. We need to do, and we are in the process of trying to do every single thing we can to make that fun, creative, engaging, and develop it and reinvent ourselves in some cases in a way to where it's going to be really sticky, and it's going to create a movement where it touches the lives of the youth. And I don't want to, I kind of hate to say it this way, but kind of go to battle with this a little bit, because this is very powerful in many good ways, but to where if we really do it right, like our kiddos and our kiddos are going to see getting out there to that event with a bunch of friends is so much more powerful than just sitting at home and scrolling today. It's like, I got these two options. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I cannot wait for my next adventure with my friends. And those are like my second family. And I had so much fun doing that. So we are going to turn over every rock and dig. We're going to strive for greatness in that avenue, to where when you and I are in our 80s, we're looking back and they're like, oh my gosh, this looks and feels so good. And we played a massive role. Like, that's our legacy. And I know I speak, I speak for, without him being here, our owner, founder, CEO, Joe DeCente. He says, fire, ready, aim. He's flipping over rocks all the time and saying yes to things almost to a fault. Like, let's give it a shot. Can we crack the code? And so he echoes what I just says. He wants to wake up when he's 70, 80 and feeling like that we left a legacy with helping change the game a little bit and really provide an amazing level of service to people that need it right now. We're going down paths right now that aren't always real healthy, and and it's hard to beat just good old school breaking a sweat and getting the muscles thumping, and like you said, you were helping people out on course and getting helped, and you all found the finish line. That's a beautiful path.
Yeah, it was so much fun. So, well, Yancy, we're running out of time. I
Yeah.
just noticed the time and I want to be respectful to get you out of here. I've got a minute. So, before we go, can you share with people how they can find you, connect with you, and learn more about Spartan DEKA?
Probably the easiest way is Spartan.com. If you want to learn all things about Spartan DEKA, Spartan Tough Mudder, Spartan Trail, the easiest way to reach me specifically would be shoot me a private message on Instagram at Yancy Culp. We all kind of have our most favorite ways. Probably 2 to 3 hours a day, I communicate with people through PM on private messages on Instagram. So at Yancy Culp, you can shoot some messages at DEKA. That's probably the best, the
Perfect. Well,
quickest.
all of Yancey's, if you're driving, don't worry, we got you. All of his contact information's in the show notes, but go connect with him. He's awesome, high energy, so much fun. Such a great guy. And check out Spartan, all things Spartan DEKA, all the things they have. I've been, like I said, one event, best experience. I'm totally going to do it again and more. So I highly recommend it. And bring friends and family, like make a day of it. For those of you watching us on YouTube, thank you. For those of you listening to us on the podcast platforms, thank you. We'd love a review that help us share Yancy with more people, as well as this podcast to support more people in the growth of their business. I promised y'all a gift, so here it is. You can go to spotlighttoscale.com/blueprint to grab your Spotlight to Scale blueprint. This is your opportunity to try some outside the box visibility strategies. You may be feeling like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall, trying different things. They're not working. Go grab your own Spotlight to Scale blueprint and have fun with it. It's free. It's yours. Spotlighttoscale.com/blueprint. Yancy, last word, any last words, anything that I didn't get to ask you or we didn't get to touch on that you want to share before we go? You dropped so many go bombs. Let me just
Live, love, laugh, and serve big with big focus on the serve, and do everything you can do to light up the planet today, my friends. Much love.
I love it, love it, love it. Again, go connect with Yancy. You got to do it. Go check out Spartan DEKA and all the things they do. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Business Growth Spotlights.